little bit. But the question is to the panel, which is, do they think that there may be, given the contingencies of history and culture that created religion in the first place, there might be an opening of a space that could give us all the great Kandinsky-like transcendence without the thousands of corpses? Could that be a possibility?
Thank you. Okay, Roger, would you take the question about the secularism being its own religion and these being its high priests?
Well, this is a slightly cheeky suggestion. If what Dr. Spivey says is right, and I'm inclined to agree with him, then of course there is a religious need in all of us, and if the religious belief systems that we've inherited are suddenly, for whatever reason, unpersuasive, it is obviously true that if what he says is true, people will look for other ways of satisfying the religious urge. They will write passionate books condemning the old religious belief, perhaps called the God delusion or something like that, and accuse the advocates of the false sciences of heresy, and maybe indeed wish to represent themselves as the saviours of mankind. And to that extent it is obviously true that we do have a kind of religious urge, a much more vehement religious urge on the other side of this debate than on this one. We are downstream from all those religious conflicts, I suspect, us on this table. We recognise with a certain element of sadness our inability to go out and kill on behalf of our faith, which Professor Dawkins has obviously not lost. So maybe it is true.
Would one of the high priests like to respond? Richard?
I face two questions. Firstly, is religion true? And second, is it necessary for human psychological welfare or something of that sort? If it isn't true, then for anybody to maintain that somehow humans need it and you're wasting your time trying to get rid of it, what an amazingly patronizing and condescending thing to say. We intellectuals, of course, know that it's not true, but all those poor people out there, they need religion. I mean, what a condescending thing to say about all those people. Either it's true or it's not. And I have enough respect for people to say that if it's not true, people will reconcile themselves to that and will not find any need for it. Now, I was asked a specific question, is it in the genes? Is there some Darwinian reason for religiosity? Maybe there is, but that doesn't bear in the slightest degree on whether it's true. I care about whether it's true. I also care, as a Darwinian, about the origin of it, and I'm interested in the origin of it, and I'm inclined to agree with the implied suggestion of the questioner that it may be that religion itself has no advantage, but it may be that it's a byproduct of some other psychological disposition which does. But that is an entirely separate question from whether it's true, and I don't like it when people say, oh, humans need it, or we have it built into us in our genes, or Darwinian natural selection has built into it, therefore that somehow validates it. Of course it doesn't validate it. It merely says that it's been built into us by natural selection, just as all sorts of other probably disagreeable things have been built into us. Doesn't mean we can't try to cure ourselves.
Right. Okay, can I just... Quickly.
The point about transcendence.
Well, I was going to actually put that to Roger Scruton as it was addressed to that particular side of the argument.
But we
so I think
were
that's
asked
only fair.
if we could have transcendence without thousands of bodies, and I'd like to speak to that.
Right.
Just very briefly. The answer, of course, is yes. I mean, it's a wonderful fact about human beings that they have this yearning for the absolute, that they sense the numinous, that in moments of great passion, infatuation, deep love, they feel that they're in touch with something which is richly important to them in their experience. Those are facts about human beings. In order to explain those facts, you don't have to go to the supermarket of ideas and take a deep frozen box out which says, Islam or Christianity or something. You don't need that explanation. This is just a fact about us, and a very wonderful fact about us, and it may be that we can express that all the more wonderfully if we didn't try to parcel it up in these explanations, which are in so many other ways irrational.
And might I just
Yes, Christopher.
a sentence to add to this? We don't want people to live without wonder or mystery, and in fact we thoroughly recommend, take a look through the Hubble telescope. See if you can get over what you see, the unbelievable beauty and symmetry and majesty of what you'll see. And you want to exchange this for the burning bush? I don't think you will once you've done it. Read a page of Stephen Hawking on the event horizon, for example, and see if that isn't awe-inspiring enough for anybody. And you're seeing there the future of a potentially much more noble and ennobled and enlightened and emancipated humanity, where none of these discoveries and none of this awe and majesty requires that you kill anyone in the name of some man-made idol or god or superstition. For heaven's sake, let's get this out of the way.
Roger Scruton.
I think that there is a real question as to what transcendence is and what its place is in the experience of all of us. Christopher Hitchens just referred to the burning bush. The voice that spoke from that bush said, "I am that I am." It reminded us of this very peculiar word which all of us use, the word I, which doesn't identify any material object in the world in which we are situated, but nor does it identify any object out of that world. Just what does it mean? What is it to look at somebody, into somebody's eyes and see the other eye that's looking out at you? That is an experience of transcendence in itself. It is the raw material from which all religious faith is constructed. And it is part of the metaphysical obscurity and unintelligibility of our predicament, that we're all faced with this experience every day. And religion makes sense of it for many people. Even for those who don't have religion, that experience is still there.